And on Money Monday today, of course, we're talking about the sequester and what does it mean to you. Joining us, of course, David Seeger from Great Lakes Credit Union.
Morning,
Good morning,
yes.
David.
Glad you're going to break this down for us.
Absolutely. Real quick, I guess we're kind of having some issues with this. But how are the markets doing this morning?
Markets, they're going to open up lower this morning than they were from last Friday. Some over the weekend jitters about what's going to happen with the sequestration that we're going to talk about today.
Absolutely. Okay, so give us a kind of a basic definition of sequestration.
Yeah, that's a word that you can hear very much talked about. Basically, you might hear about a jury being sequestered. That's when the bailiff takes control of the jury. They can't go home and things of that nature. Well, basically, that's the same thing that's happened here. We have a budget in place through a continuing resolution, but they passed another law in August of 2011 with these cuts. And these cuts are going to supersede what's in the budget resolution, and that's why they call it sequestration. The sequestration law is taking control of the budget law and the controls what they're going to do with spending.
And mandatory cuts.
Mandatory cuts.
The president was offered a chance to be able to massage the numbers to make it less painful.
Chose not to.
Chose not to. Why is that?
Political issues.
So this is going to hurt people a lot more than it really should.
Right. He didn't want to be holding the bag, and that's what the long and short of it was.
All right. So this is actually, they're not going to prorate this for years.
All.
So it's actually going to be increased for this first.
Exactly. The fiscal year for the government is October 1 through September 30th. So we're already about halfway through it. So you get about 7 months of these cuts are going to happen between now and September 30th. So the impact is going to be greater than would it be normally.
Right. Going to be nearly twice as what we possibly
very much so.
All right, so let's kind of put it in terms, because we all hear about this, spending cuts, it's going to affect us, but let's say a family of 4 making $50,000.
Right.
How is that going to affect them on a yearly basis?
Okay, well, imagine that if you were a family of 4 making $50,000 a year in the Toledo area, and all of a sudden they're going to take 2.4% of your income away from you. Okay, now it doesn't sound like a lot. That's about $100 a month, $1,200 a year. But imagine this, that $100 a month, they're going to say, okay, that $100, $50 are going to come off your grocery bill. So the average family of 4 spends about $400 or so on groceries, and mandatorily, they can only spend $350. That's going to be an impact. Where's that going to come from? And then the other $50 is going to be spread out through the rest of their bills. It's not enough to push them into bankruptcy, but it's enough that they will feel the pain. And that's how we describe it with the federal government.
A lot of folks are already on the edge.
Yes, they are.
They can't afford another hit.
No, exactly.
Okay, well, coming up next hour, we're going to kind of talk about how it's exactly going to affect the state of Ohio. Because again, you know, we hear all these numbers, we read the headlines and everything, but we're going to really kind of tear it down and say where we're going to be affected in our state. All right, have the markets changed in just the past hours?
Not much. It's staying about the same. It's still going to open down as of 9:30, about 35 points down for the Dow, S&P about 4.5, and NASDAQ down 7. A little bit of the jitters from what's happened since last Friday with the sequestration.
Well,
it's finally hit.
Jitters are due. We're over 14,000 over the weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
I know.
Now, as far as the sequester is concerned, most people don't really know much about it at all.
Only about 20% of the public actually has heard of it and actually understand it. Yeah, so there are a lot of people in the dark about it, what it's going to do and how it's going to affect them.
Okay, and it's we want to go through how it's going to affect everybody in Ohio. But first of all, let's talk about the website where people can go to get more information and kind of understand a little bit more.
Sure, there's a website that is available, and it's an academic game that you can play. What it does, you can be the Congress, you can be the president, where you can set up the budget priorities, you can set the taxation rates, you can also set the spending amounts, and you can come up and see how you can balance the budget.
All right.
So it's a really nice website.
Publicinsightnetwork.org. Publicinsightnetwork.org. So if you want to take a look at that, you can learn a lot more about it, which is very, very important. All right, so let's talk about how it's affecting the state of Ohio.
Okay, well, nationally, we're looking about 750,000 jobs that will be lost by the end of the year, according to the CBO estimates. That's on a national basis. So that's huge, direct and indirect. Locally, in Ohio, we're looking at K through 12 schools, $25.1 million will be cut from the budget, with 350 teacher jobs at risk. Head Start, 2,500 children will lose their services. The clean water and air quality, $6.98 million cuts, plus 981,000 cuts for fish and wildlife protection.
That's a big deal.
It is. Military readiness, 26,000 civilian Department of Defense employees will be furloughed. $161.4 million will be saved there. $3 million from Air Force base operations and $1.9 million from Army base operations. Law enforcement, drug treatment, and crime victim services, $455,000. Children vaccines, 5,040 fewer children will be served. And child care help for working poor parents, up to 800 fewer children will be served. Public health, 1.1 million from health emergency disaster preparation, 3.3 million from substance abuse programs, and 7,600 fewer HIV tests. And for senior meals, Meals on Wheels, for example, $823,000 will be cut from that program.
That's going to be a big impact.
Very much so. See, it's only 2.4% of the entire budget, but affects a lot. People didn't realize the impact what it's going to be.
Well, all these cuts
everyone,
are cramped into 7 months, not the
true.
full year.
Exactly. That's the other problem as well.
So do you have any advice? I mean, is there anything that you can say as far as, I guess you're going to have to budget better, because we were talking about in the first segment, everybody will be affected in some way.
One way or another. I'm thinking that it's going to be more impactful different regions of the country. Like, for example, the defense areas. Like Northern Virginia and California, there's a lot of defense contracts going on. Those places will be hit a lot harder. We're going to feel an indirect effect here in Northwest Ohio. We don't have as much the defense contracting that goes on here in Northwest Ohio, so consequently we'll feel the indirect effect of this entire slowdown that's going to happen.
Now, President Obama did have the opportunity to kind of make these not as impactful, but he chose not to.
He passed on that, you're
over the
exactly.
Yeah, they wanted him to be able to soften the blow and kind of manage the money better rather than just having the hatchet go down.
Well, he didn't want to be stuck holding the bag, so that was his problem right there.
So
So he wanted
politics.
to stay away
Comes down
from
to
it. It's
politics.
Pure politics.
All right, a
Gonna
lot of good
increase the pain.
important information there, David. We certainly appreciate it. How can people get a hold of you?
At www.glcu.com.
All right, David Seeger, we certainly appreciate it very much.
Thank you.